How do you know that your loved ones in spirit are communicating with you? And how does it work? I could run through all the technical aspect of our bioelectronic magnetic field that comes out of our body, how they connect into it, how the vibration of whatever they're sending us goes up our vagus nerve, through our croc brain, and then gets cordoned off by whether it is in our hippocampus or a different part of our brain, how it's processed through our limbic system, and how we know. Sure, I could. But what you really need to know is they're going to use your human senses and your energetic senses, which are known as your psychic senses, to see, hear, feel, sense, taste, smell. There's a whole heap of French words. Clairvoyance is one of them that you might recognize. Clairgusto, clairaudience, clairsentient. But they're too tough. My brain is simple. So I stay with what makes sense to me. See, hear, feel, know, taste, all of them. Sometimes we might smell something. It's like it's in the environment. There's no reason why we should smell it. Could be perfume, could be a scent that resonates with our loved one in spirit. Maybe they're sweaty all the time because they're working out. It's that smell. It's like, oh, that smells like when they were around, but they're not around. But are they? If you smell something that reminds you of your loved one in spirit, they are there. They're bringing that into your awareness. As I said, there's a whole process on what they do. They send a vibration to trigger that in your mind. Your mind is part of mental mediumship. Everything that is stored in here. If it's not in here as a point of reference and they send you a vibration, it's going to whoosh straight over you. You're not going to have something that connects, because frequencies like attract like, they draw together. And so when they send a frequency through to you, if you have that in you, they're going to connect together. Take you down a whole journey of quantum science in how particles do that. It's what happens. And so if you have a memory that is associated with a smell that makes a link to your loved one in spirit, they can send a vibration that will trigger this within you so you know they are there. The same happens with where there is taste. It's as if you've eaten something that maybe they prepared or you used to have all the time together, but you haven't eaten anything. Or it could even be a taste of metallic or something that would associate with health. But there's no logical reason for that to be occurring. And this is the key, right? So they are the ones that we feel in that tasting and smelling space. They're not as common as the others. One we always hear about is seeing, so clairvoyance. Now, human eyes and inside eye, third eye, they're two different things. So seeing with our human eyes, can you anticipate? Peripheral visions. So shadows on the corner of your eye, something is moving, you turn around and nothing is there. That's them. They're super fast now. Tell them to slow down. You may also see them like a hologram. You can kind of see through them. Star Wars, Obi-Wan, remember the hologram? Like that. They can be solid, just as you're seeing me. Not as common as Hollywood makes out it is. You may see them as steam, clouds. Now, that may take a human form or it might not. Might just be like a cloud floating around in your lounge room. It can be white, it can be grey. Grey does not mean bad. It just means that's the amount of energy that could be manifested and how you're processing that frequency. Remembering that you can only process a very small scale of light frequencies. There is so many frequencies within our environment that you are unable to process visually. Your eyes just aren't that awesome. You may see, like, think of fairy lights, those little sparkly yellow. That's the trail of their energy when you catch it right at the end. A highway and it's really hot and the atmosphere looks a little bit different. That's what they do. All those ways are ways that your human eyes can see them. Internal eye, third eye. You can see faces, you can see them exactly as they were. You may see them in monotone, so greys, or sepia, so those brown colors. Meditation, you can see them in meditation. Also, just before you go to sleep, when your brain is changing state, our brain changes state as we go through our sleep rhythms. So as it changes state, there's a space where you're still conscious on what's happening, but you know there's a shift. You can see them in that space. And other times you are asleep, we call it a dream. It is not a dream. And you will know it's not a dream because it is so profound that you wished it never ended. Now, in those moments, the conversations may be vast. There may be not much at all. It might be all feeling. Whatever you experience is appropriate for you and that moment. We never want it to end in those spaces. You're going to know it's really special. You're going to wish that they occurred all the time. We can't control it most of the time. They're going to come when they want to come and they need to come. You can ask for sure, please visit me when I'm asleep. If they don't take it personally. You may not remember. You may not be sure. Often we do remember. And we never, ever forget those moments. Hearing is another thing that they communicate with us. Now, once again, with our ears, so human ears, what we can anticipate is someone calling out your name. You know that that's not possible because maybe the person's not there, maybe you're by yourself, but someone calls out your name. You may hear movement, like footsteps, things opening and closing, but there's no one else home but you. So it doesn't make sense. Things moving, all part of it. They don't mean to scare us because they don't. Sometimes we are, though. Internal hearing is a little bit different. So internal hearing, we can get a little bit confused about it because we're not sure if it's us sometimes. So there's a bit of a scale on what occurs here. Often it will sound like your voice in your head or an octave a little bit different. Other times it's going to sound like the voice you remember of your loved one. Really doesn't matter which way it shows up. It's really, once again, like everything to do with you, your blocks, your expectations, and the energy that can be drawn on and what's happening in your brain. The way that you know it's not you is the way it starts. So if it starts with a level of spontaneity, not seeking, not asking, and it just pops into your brain, it's like, oh, I sound like I'm talking to myself, not you. If you've kind of set the intention to connect with your loved one and you're asking for it, and then it starts, not you. If you're thinking about, I've got a whole heap of tasks that I have to do, X, Y, Z, that's you. If it feels more linear, you. Also be aware of how it comes in. It kind of feels like it comes in around here. That's in that hearing space, but inside. It will have a level of guidance, wisdom. It's going to be useful in some way rather than just random thoughts. Be open to that. Now, you can also hear multiple voices. You might hear songs in your head that make sense for that loved one. You may actually even hear songs or sounds that make sense for your loved one with your human ears to let you know that they're around. They're going to communicate to you in whatever way that they think that you're going to be receptive to them. Some people are going to get it in the visual, others are going to get it in the hearing space. Some are going to get it in feelings. Feelings are amazing. Now, it could be rushes of emotion for sure, but it also can be that vibrational shift where you're just aware that the air is a little bit different. Something's changed. It feels like as if someone's standing behind you or next to you. They are. You may get tingles on you, temperature change around you on a certain part of your body. It's different when I say tingles to when we get goosebumps. That's different. Goosebumps is more a soul resonance, yes, and it's like a shiver that goes through our body. That's a yes. Your soul's saying yes on something. But when your loved one is close and they touch you, it's this little vibration, little tingle somewhere. And wherever you feel it is where they've touched you. They often like to touch our faces, our hair, our hands, our shoulders. Our pets often like to touch our feet. You may feel the temperature change. It might be up or down. Sometimes it can go really hot to a cold. You can feel like the air even moves as if someone just went, but softer. All these things are when they're interacting with us physically. They're subtle. If you are busy, if you are not making space for them, you're going to miss it. Make space. Slow down. Invite them to interact with you. They are there to support you, help you, lead you, guide you in a way that they could never do before, in a more profound way, a bigger way. Be open to what they want to share, how they want to interact with you, and let go of your expectations on what it should be like. And don't measure it to anyone else's experiences because yours are going to be unique to you and your loved one. Remembering that this is how you're going to process it. And so that's really different to someone else's. They never leave us. They go backwards and forwards 100%. And when they're here, they're not stuck. It drives me crazy when people say that. They're not stuck just because they're here. They choose to come backwards and forwards. Remember, they don't go anywhere. So how can they be stuck? It's the most ridiculous thing that I ever hear. They change form. They have shifted. So you will notice them sometimes and sometimes you won't. When your emotions are high, it's harder to notice. It's not impossible, it's harder. So on those days where your grief is more and you probably need them the most, it's going to be hard sometimes. And when your grief maybe is not as intense as other days, it will be easier. They are always trying to let you know that they are around. They will manipulate your environment. The amount of times that I have had a spirit tell me that they have manipulated energy, anything from turning a fan on, making lights flicker, impacting technology, anything with energy in it is easier for them. Bringing things into our world, knocking things over, moving photos, things that sometimes will freak us out because we're not anticipating it. They're trying to get your attention because maybe you haven't made space for them. And they're trying to support you. So they can do all kinds of things. Everything that I've heard, from flushing a toilet to annoy a wife, to sending birds to the window to tease someone. Anything. It's because it's energy. And they are now in that space, working from that space in a way that they couldn't do before. Open your heart and allow yourself to experience what they are trying to bring into your world. They want to support you. They're still part of your life. They don't miss anything, big things, little things. They're going to know all the birthday celebrations, but they're also going to know when you make a really stupid choice about something that they would normally be coaching you on, guiding you on. They're going to know when there's births and marriages. And also, when you said you were going to do something, maybe get healthy or whatever, and didn't have the strength, and they're going to be there cheering you on to keep going because they know it's right for you. You have a cheerleader unlike you've ever had a cheerleader before. Welcome them into your world in a different way to the way that they were before. You can still continue relationships in this space. I've seen it time and time again, where someone has a body and someone doesn't. The relationship continues. You just need to find your new way of communicating, that energetic Morse code. You need to find your way for the yes, no answers. What do you think about? Test and measure, whatever that is for you. But the relationship can still continue if you are open to it, because they are. Find your new way of communicating based on one has a voice box and one does not. Find your yes, no, the way signs and symbols are going to work. And be open to continuing this relationship in a different way. This person was in your world, your energetic world, prior to incarnating, prior to you incarnating. You have a bond with them because this bond goes beyond this lifetime. It was here before and it will be here after. On some level, there is a connection, what they call within a soul family. And we have this that carries through time and space. So continue it while one of you is in a different time and space to the other. Because at some point in time, you will be in the same time and space again.